talked about, even when I watched the AA final yesterday, I saw a lot of balls that were overset or passed over on one, and they weren't ready. So at every level, you guys got to really remember, Casey's serving, we're playing together. I'm going to stand about him. I'm going to tell him, like, maybe I'm going to tell him where I want him to serve. So I say, go serve that person over there. I'm going to try to block him out. So I'm going to serve right in the middle. Casey's going to serve it. And I'm going to watch, the first thing I'm going to watch is that pass. Not an overpass, then I'm going to watch the set. I'm going to be here standing there ready to go. So if you try to get, I'm going to step up and block. Your guys level. You're not a pro. You want to make sure you stop that first ball from coming over. It happens way too much out here. We all were talking about it in our meeting a minute ago. You guys be prepared for that first ball coming over, or the second overset. You're going to get a lot more points. So
one thing I want you guys to remember, if there's one thing I can tell you about defense, it's staying in this low position. Rarely do I, even if I watch video, I don't want to come up. I do it a lot because it's really hard to stay down here, but the more you can stay low, there's one thing you can remember is after the ball goes up to be set, if you're here waiting, even if they're setting the ball, because a lot of times guys can get squirrely like Mark will sometimes do this one, and if you're here already, you can make a move for it, whereas a lot of people wait for the hit, for someone to come up and hit the ball, and then they drop down. And then the other thing, I'll break it down better, but if you're low like this and they shoot the line, a lot of people will come up. If you know what I'm talking about, you'll come up to run instead of staying down here and then breaking for it so that you're low and you can still pick that ball up. A lot of guys don't have a lot of core strength, like Aaron, he'll come up a lot because he's 6'6", but that's one thing that I think is key, and I don't even like to say that to these guys that I play against, because it's if you can get in your head to stay low, you're so much faster all the time. Even if you're serving the ball and they come over on one, if you're like this, you're ready to move. If you're caught like this, picnicking, then it's just not a good move. So that's my #1 rule for defense. What are some questions that you have? Like, I think one would be, say I'm serving the ball and my blocker's blocking line. I'm going to serve the ball. I like to stand right here for a minute and let them know that I might go here and dig the line. Or I just like them to not know where I'm going. Because if they don't know where I'm going, they don't know where my blocker's going. But if I jump over here, if a guy has a tendency, I'm going to do different things. But for the most part, I like to serve the ball. So I serve it over here, pass, he sets it, and then when that guy takes his look, I don't care. He can look at me all he wants, but I'm not going to show him too much. I'll hang around in here for a minute, and if he has a tendency to go there, then obviously I'm going to step over here, but I'm always going to face the hitter. I'm going to watch the play develop. I'm going to watch the setter, because he could go on two, he could hit up, he can do lots of things, but your blocker is key also. You always want to trust your blocker. If he's blocking line, you don't want to stay here all day, obviously. So if he's going to block, hopefully, depending on the blocker, he's going to block this much court. So you're basically saying, have that line shot and test my speed. You can test my speed, because that's the best play they can have, and if your blocker's big enough, or they pull and they're creative and stuff like that. But your main job, if they're blocking line, is to take the angle. So anything that falls in here, hot, slow, whatever, speed-wise, it's yours.
You know in indoor you want to be stopped when the person makes contact with the ball? Is that the same on the beach?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Yeah, you don't want to be moving unless, there's obviously a freestyle type of defense where someone's just absolutely going to annihilate a ball and your blocker's out of it because he's taking his side of the court and he doesn't read it, to where you got to make an adjustment and just run in and take one off.
But for the most part, you want to be stopped and then move to the ball,
yeah,
kind
you
of
want to
thing?
be stopped.
So the same thing?
Yeah, and you want to be in that low position and stop. As soon as they're touching the ball, because if you're not stopped, you have one dig, and that is right at you. Or the way you're running for that shot, maybe two. You have two. I mean, you might not even get the one that's hit hard at you. You'll get the one you're running for. If you're stopped, you have, 80% of the court. To me, I think I have 80% of the court if I'm stopped. I'm going to be fast enough. They have to go high enough over my blocker to where, there's limited shots. So if you're stopped,
I'll show you a little bit. When you should dig with your hands too, most of the time. I love doing that. Mark, all the big blockers, Niche, T-Bone, anyone that blocks when you get a job, you don't have time to come down and dig low. They're dropping, and by the time you get back, they're already hitting, so you pretty much have to dig with your hands. Whereas when I'm playing VBV, he's up there blocking, and the guy's coming in, and we're playing big guys, because everyone's so huge on our ADP, we're going to jump into the feedback zone. That we have to dig with our hands. It's not a matter of, I know you guys are always wondering when should you do it. You have to get into the impact zone and know that the ball, you're timing it so that you have to hit it up at your hands. You can't stand back here and think that you're going to dig with your hands. The ball's going to go out. You step in. Does that make sense, everyone? When you step in, you try to create a different look defensively so the other team can't slide out so easily.
But you don't want to get caught like this. Like, I'm gonna dig it with my hands. I like this right here. From this position to this is a lot faster than this one to that one. You know what I'm saying? You can go up faster than you can bring it down, I think. So if you're here, you might get lucky and lollipop a ball over here, and then you can do this. This is like last resort. You're gonna react, and if you don't, it's gonna hit you, which is good too. If you're in the right position, I don't mind, taking it here. But I'll be saying if a guy's hammering a ball, you can dive in here, and you can be in that athletic position coming right here for the response, reacting to the ball. Just don't get caught like this all the time. Like, I'm gonna.
This is a drill we do to warm up.
Shows the paws off. I don't have that.